Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dungeon Dive with Daniel here. Alright, today I am here with a little look at Hero's Journey Home. Otherwise known as that game that comes in the burlap sack. Yes, that's right, this game ships and is packaged in a burlap sack, and it is created by one man named Graham Cranfield. And Graham has done everything in the game, the design, the art, the packaging. He ships them out. He is a one-man shop, and you can get the game with its first expansion from a website that I will post a link to below. So, Hero's Journey Home is an absolutely delightful looking game. As you can just see on the board here, how it looks so inviting. The colors are so well done. The art is absolutely incredible, and it is a real passion project from Graham. It is a small game, kind of more single. One of your, it's one of those indie dungeon crawl adventure games where you are working through a deck of cards, trying to get to the end, to an end point, and you are trying to survive getting home. So what this game is all about is, from the title you can probably tell, Hero's Journey Home. So this game starts where a earlier game ends. Your hero and his or her band of adventurers has solved a mighty quest. They have completed their quest. And at the beginning of the game, you're going to draw a quest. And maybe you have defeated the Agwe Rogue, or maybe you've defeated Luhi the Witch Queen, or the Cockatrice of Whirl, or maybe you've defeated the Minotaur, or the Dybbuk, or the Templar Knight, or perhaps you've gone up against Neptune, or maybe the devil himself, or Baba Yaga, or Zikzak the Tyrant, or maybe the North Wind. So these are all the quests that you've gone on already, and each one of those is associated with a quest item. And after you've solved your quest, after you've retrieved your quest item, perhaps the Cloak of the Seven Seas, or the Kestrel Sword, or Neptune's helmet, a ball of string maybe, Ibur, the Holy Grail itself, you're tasked with taking this item and getting back home. So this game is all about the return journey. The hero has gone out, they have put together their band of adventurers, and you have solved your quest, but now you need to get home. And getting home is just as dangerous. That's part of the quest that we often gets overlooked. We often go to the quest point, do the dangerous thing, and then yay, the end. But doesn't the hero and their band of adventurers need to get back home to really survive? And that's what this game is about. So after you have picked your quest and gotten your quest item, then you're going to pick one of these adventurers to be your hero. The other adventurers you will meet along the way or take at the beginning are going to be your adventuring party. And the heroes might include the champion, or the time traveler, the assassin, the maiden. God, aren't these cards just absolutely gorgeous? So well done. The paladin, the automaton, the cavalier, the bandit, the seer, the bard, or the cleric. And each one of those heroes is going to have certain kinds of powers. They will have an extrinsic or external. I can't remember the term that they use for the powers. Intrinsic abilities and extrinsic abilities. So extrinsic abilities, those have to be chosen to be used as an action, normally when you are in combat. Some of the heroes will have intrinsic abilities, and those abilities are considered to always be in effect. So in this particular game that I am playing now, my quest that I had already completed was to go up against the Sphinx, perhaps solve some riddles, and to retrieve the puzzle box, which I have retrieved the puzzle box, and I am trying to get this home. And my main hero right now is this sailor. And I am playing with a band of dwarves. So my 3 starting adventurers, the sailor is my hero, and then I was joined by a wizard and a fool. Because what you do is you look at the quest number, and that number tells you the number of heroes you can bring in with your party. So you pick your hero. My hero is a 7-point hero, but then I also added the wizard, which was a 3-point wizard, and the fool, who was a 1-point adventurer. Now my wizard came with a number of spells, and in the spell deck you have a number of spells. You can have Elf Like Me or Vita Brevis. A paper gold fountain. Paper gold is the kind of currency in the game, and it's used for a number of different things. Teleportation spell, you can hypnotize monsters. A polymorph, a fire lightning blizzard, that sounds quite deadly. A reanimate, I love the drawing on reanimate, that's so good. Finley's fleet fists and feet, and energize. And right now my wizard is armed with these spells: the Hammer of the Gods, the Debilitating Fear, Crystal Phantom Armor, and Enchant. So I can use those. The way you use those spells is they are mostly going to be used once and then discarded. And you have to pay for them with your paper gold. And paper gold, like I said, is a currency in the game. And you get a large stack of 500 bills, of 50 bills, and 100 bills. And you can spend these. Each one is like a magic point that you can spend to do certain spells. Sometimes you can spend those to bribe the monsters so you don't have to fight them. And there are a couple other uses for these, such as buying gear. As you come across gear in the game, you will be able to buy it. And each piece of gear is going to add to your card's total. And that total is used for combat and that kind of thing. Right now, my hero, my sailor hero, is armed with a fleet spear and a temporary shield. The real shield is being finalized. And then my fool here, he has a really great intrinsic battle ability, which allows him to subtract 3 from all of the enemy's die rolls, and that's really, really good. And my fool here is armed with a hand halberd. Some people call it an axe. And then I also came across this healer who she can use paper gold to spend as a currency to heal. And she also has one spell, and that is to fortify. So this is my band of adventurers right now. I had a bard, but the bard died. Basically, you're going to be using your other heroes that are along with your main hero, your adventurers, kind of as meat shields to protect your hero, because your hero needs to be the one to finally make it home. And to make it home, you have to go through this deck. You're going to shuffle this deck. You're going to split it into 2. And then in the bottom half, you are going to insert in the home card. There's your home. And so you're going to insert the home card into that bottom half, and then when you find that card, when you draw that card on your turn, and if your hero is still alive with their quest item, then you have won the game. And so you are going to have to go through a number of different cards before you finally reach your home. And those will include things like getting ambushed by monsters. Sometimes you will be out at sea. My sailor right now, he benefits from being out at sea, so I get more healing when I'm out at sea. The Grotto of Rejuvenation. These red cards are monsters, so these are cultists. There are 2 of these cultists that you have to attack. And attacking is quite simple. You add up the different numbers on top, so the numbers in white are their strength. You compare it to your attacker or defender's strength. You locate the attacker and defender, you cross-reference that on the chart, and then that tells you the number that you need to roll on a d20 or higher to hit, and you do a certain number of damage. And when you defeat monsters, well, then you get the rewards. 4, that's their hit points. You get 4 paper gold worth of reward for each monster that you kill. These brown cards, they represent just kind of usually some kind of a geographical location or event or something that you've discovered. There aren't really stat checks or anything in this game. You basically just draw a card, you do what it says, you move on to the next card until you find combat, and then you're going to do combat. So you're kind of hoping that you get a good shuffle so that the enemy cards are spread out throughout the deck, and you can run into enough of them to get enough paper gold to buy items when they show up in this deck, and you have enough paper gold to cast spells, and you want to get yourself all boosted up before you come across any of the really powerful red monsters. The red cards, the combat is really where the bulk of the game happens, but the rest of the game is so beautifully illustrated, so whimsical, and just it really creates this sense of adventure through the art and through a very kind of minimalist style. And that is one thing I really do like about this game. It's just its style. It looks so inviting on the table. I love setting it up and playing through it. Even though it is a relatively easy and simple game, there aren't a ton of choices, and the sense of adventure is not grand, but it does tell a nice little kind of fairy tale like story. This expansion, Gods of Man and More, which comes with this instruction booklet here, it comes with a god that each of the heroes worships. And so when you draw your initial hero, then you are also going to draw their corresponding god, and that is going to give you an additional power. So Diomora, she was the god that my sailor worshipped, and she also helps me out at sea. Additionally, this expansion is also going to come with some race cards. And these you have the option to attach to your heroes and your adventurers, and they augment them a little bit, and they weigh more on the side of making the game more difficult. So I rarely use them, but right now I am playing with a band of dwarves there, and so all of my heroes, except for this healer who she came along later in the game. But yeah, it's a nice, simple little card game. It's got some good, you're rolling dice, you're attacking monsters, you're fighting things like goblins and enchantresses and harpies and demon princes. Right now in my adventure, I'm facing off against the sirens. And then I have encountered things like the dwarven blacksmith where I can upgrade my weapons, the Iki Iki beach. I came across these evening gauntlets, but I did not buy them. The astral plane, the Bioria, the port of mystics, the honeyed ambles, the Ozon, the gateway, the abbey of Matabadia. I was ambushed. I found the Isle of Vort, or Vorte, and the palace of Ekadzak. So pretty cool. I do wish that there was kind of maybe a variant where you could lay out a certain number of adventure cards in a matrix, in a grid, and then move around and encounter them in a certain order of your choosing. Or maybe you could backtrack to one that you didn't utilize to use later. Something more of an adventure mode, because really what you're doing is you're just working your way down through the deck. You're basically going to see almost every card in every game, just depending on where that home card is in the deck. That tells you when to stop because you've beaten the game. So it is kind of just that kind of one deck dungeon where you are going to basically see all of the cool stuff on one play. But depending on who you have in your party, depending on the spells that you've chosen, depending on the gear that you're able to afford when you come across it, depending on your god, there are a couple other little things that you can do with your god. You can pray 3 times a game, and that's you're just going to roll a d6 and then get a certain award, and you can do that 3 times. So that is another decision point that you can make in the game. There are also ways for you to band together to attack an enemy to do a little bit more damage, but causing the there's a chance that maybe more than one hero will take the damage when you do that. You track your hero's hit points with D6s. Each hero starts with 3. They can be healed or gain up to 6. Every time you kill an enemy, you go up in XP, and that is represented by this little D6 here that goes on this hero card, and that can go up to 6. And then those are points that you can add to totals when you attack later. So it's a excuse me, it's a cute little game. I like it. There is a new expansion coming out soon, and I am looking forward to that. But I think that where this game really excels, where it is its best, is just in its look, in its whimsical nature, in that art, and the way that it does a lot with a minimal amount of information. You know, I don't think it's up there with something like Rogue Dungeon for giving me that dungeon crawl, giving me that adventure game feel. I do like it more than One Deck Dungeon, and it is something that I just, it's a game that I really like, based almost completely on the way it looks and the feel that the game gives me when it's set up, just because it is such a pleasant thing to look at with my eyes. If it's not, you know, maybe not necessarily the best game that I own, it is one that I do really like. So, and now it is readily available. I think he is having a shortage right now on the D6, so I think there might be a little backup in ordering the game. He did recently just post that on Facebook. But if the game looks interesting to you, if you're looking something simple, something you can set up easily and play pretty quickly without a lot of hassle, I can recommend this game, especially if you are into this kind of whimsical, Edward Gorey, kind of Tim Burton-esque art. Something to recommend. So that again is Hero's Journey Home, and that is from Graham Cranfield, and you can see his email address there if you wanted to contact him, and I will post the link to buying the game in the comments below. So all right guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will talk to you later. Bye bye.